because Spire told all people I owe money that I am going to Mount Kilimanjaro and therefore I should pay them before I leave. So one of them is actually camped outside. So that's the reason why. Very quickly, with your kind acceptance, at exactly midday I will leave, regardless of what's happening, because my mode of transport will be ready to take me to begin the trek. I think, I'm just going to say to you from my experience that I think you guys worry about the wrong things. And you spend so much time discussing legislation, who did what, how will the law be used, privacy. The best way to find out is do it. So we should be spending more time discussing how to organize in the age of new technology. And I'm really glad that you have at least two people I know. I don't know Mulu very well, so I don't want to say very much, but I know Toko and I know Sentongo. Regardless of all these laws, they've organized the use of technology. And I remember saying it, and I had all sorts of noise in response. And I said, it's incredible that in the age where knowledge is so prevalent, people are so ignorant. I say, there is one thing that Spire did with his potholes. He showed the rest of the public a safe way a safe and very cheap way in which to participate in civic action. And people laughed thinking that it was meaningless. So I'm going to tell you three stories that for me capture the value of technology. In 2000, when we were doing the capital gun, every public individual dismissed us as just talkers on radio. By the election of 2005, there were queues outside every radio station with people trying to get on in order to get their voices heard. By then, it was 5 years too late for anybody who had wanted to make a name or get their messages out. So first of all, they start by dismissing you. And then they realize that actually this is much bigger than they think. So one of the most interesting things I had, and this is for Toko, you may want to learn this. I was attending a workshop like this, and a girl who had done research on PDM cash, we were talking about coffee, but she came to talk about PDM cash. She said, men are lining up to receive PDM cash so they can go and buy a technophone. Why? Because they want to go on TikTok. Why are they on TikTok? So, the thing that is important, I told you three stories, so I'm going to give you the other one. The next one was that everybody, or the accepted conventional wisdom, is that it is the guns and the big political parties that liberated South Africa from apartheid. No, it is not. The people who actually drove apartheid into the ground were the students. But everybody dismissed them as a weak, inconsequential force. One of the things that helped the students was the power of music in mobilizing them and growing their social consciousness. Third one is the story of a country that used to exist but doesn't exist anymore. It's a country called Czechoslovakia. Hans, if you know Czechoslovakia, then I will know how old you are. Yeah, they're my age mates here. Now, Czechoslovakia was under the rule of a dictatorial system, but the way they fought back was through theater and pantomime. And everybody dismissed them. Well, they were able to achieve the liberation of their country, and their first president was actually a playwright. So one of the responses that for me is important is not so much the legislation. It is the attitude of those who are being held accountable by the voices in the digital world. The first is one of arrogance, the second is one of dismissal, and the third is one of panic. And then after that, they try to play catch up, and then they try to buy off people, and so on and so forth. This is a normal reaction. So just, I would say, things that people like Godwin, people like Agatha, and many others who have picked up different places. One of the greatest platforms now for what I'm going to tell you is TikTok. And people like Uncle Mo, you dismiss them at your own peril. Because what are they doing? One, with these new technologies, they've demonstrated that people can take back agency. The time when media, privately owned or generally controlled media platforms decided what you should know and hear is gone. It's finished. People now can speak for themselves and in real time. If you think that I am telling you a lie, look at the responses each time the president posts something, and you can see the kinds of responses. That stuff would never have happened 30 years ago when I was a young man. Never. Not such responses would have even been allowed in the letters page of any newspaper, leave alone on any talk show. So that is significant because it is demonstrating to many people that with a phone and access to the internet, you have agency. So that's number one. Number two, it is safe. You don't need to go to the streets to be tear gassed and beaten to say what you wanted to say. You just sit in the safety of your, or you lie in the safety of your bed and make a powerful statement and move on. There is a word for it in Ugandan speak. It's called violence. Move on. So there is that element of safety. The third one, for me, is that it is what it's doing, and this is what most people miss, is in any struggle, regardless, the most important thing in civic action is for you to raise the level of social consciousness. How you do it doesn't matter, whether it is through song, comedy, art, or direct political statements. What these digital technologies are doing is they're making it possible for societies to conscientize themselves about their reality. And so you really have to fear people like Spire, who you would have ignored before simply because he's hiding in a corner in a university and draws occasional cartoons. Now, before, you see, what was difficult was for people to read. Now people see, people hear, and they form opinions. And you may think that what will happen in 10, 15 years time from now happened then. The truth is the seeds were sown now. So, please, take heart. What digital technologies have done for you is they've broken down control. They've given you back your agency. They've created for you the opportunity to organize. So stop agonizing.
Robert has said quite a lot of what would have been said, so I'll just say this, that the era in which we're living now, technology is really reshaping the civic space, and there have been examples that have been shared, such as what Spire has done, but also it has introduced new ways of organizing. And for me, the power of technology that we see today in terms of shaping the civic space is a response to something. It is not just happening as it should, but it is response to a system that we're operating under. When the physical space has been restricted, when citizens feel that they are held back in the physical space, they will find alternatives of organizing. And I think the digital space has given citizens an opportunity to create, to innovate, but also to organize differently. And I'll just give an example of something that happened this week. There's quite a number of them. In West Nile, the Uganda Revenue Authority has been shooting and killing smugglers for some time. And in the process of intercepting them, sometimes they end up killing civilians on the streets. And for the longest time, this particular practice has been normalized. And so in the space of 2 weeks, about 3 people were killed. And the last incident happened, I think, 2 days ago. And it took a tweet and a message for the citizens to quickly organize and call their leaders to order. And under a day, all the leaders traveled to West Nile, sat, met, and made resolutions. First, to stop the operations of URA until their leadership goes to the region and a proper conversation is had, including other other decisions that were made, pro-citizen decisions that is. And what did that mean for me? That this would not be the same many years ago. where people would think that perhaps physical actions were the only way out of a predicament. That we have found other ways of holding our leaders accountable, taking advantage of the digital space. Robert says that part of this can be attributed to the fact that citizens feel more safer in the digital space, and I must say yes, they do feel safer. Whether they're actually safe is another conversation. Of course, we know even our laws as they are right now put a lot of power in the hands of enforcers and also government agencies when it comes to how much control they exercise over the digital space. But that is not something that citizens pay so much attention to. For as long as they have an opportunity to voice their opinions, to express themselves, I think I can say that we have moved progressively towards another era of holding our leaders accountable and also for demanding for better. The other is in the sense that there is more responsiveness. Many times when I joined civil society as a young girl, I think most of what we used to do were petitions that we would have to physically deliver, call meetings and do all of this. But today, we see the response to citizens' demand more quickly than it was when we were using the conventional ways. And that is also because there is a thin line between the reputation of agencies and institutions and responding to actual needs of citizens. Because guess what? Through the use of cameras and technology, people are able to obtain real-time evidence and document violations. And deny something that has been captured in real time and put in the public domain. And so what this does is to put rights enforcers in a place of defense. So it's either that you're going to be caught in a lie or you're going to have to acknowledge your wrong and act immediately. And for me, I think that also contributes to access to justice, because a lot of the people that have been able to receive justice have done so because somebody who was standing by while a violation happened quickly got evidence of that and captured it and was able to safely keep that. But also, for me, it is the innovation that especially young people who have not been keen over the years in terms of taking charge of their affairs as rights holders find more opportunity to dig into their own level of creativity while participating in most of these civic actions online. And for me, as the panel before was speaking about inclusivity, I think the digital space has opened room for including everybody in conversations. Because at the point at which people are having conversations about rights and about other issues, it does not matter who is there. Much as I know there's still a very huge digital divide, I can say that there is a certain level of inclusivity. People are able to have unity of voice on issues, not based on who is saying what. And for me, that is very important, that new leaders are emerging and that new ways of organizing have emerged in the digital space. And when I say that it is reshaping the civic space, that is what I mean: leadership, innovation, but also creative ways of organizing.